Hello everybody! Today we'll show you the game Blitz in the East, the Russian campaign 1941 to 45 from the Vento Nuovo games. The game designers are two brothers from Italy, Antonio and Emanuele Sant'Andrea. It's a war game for two players and is a historical game that portrays the Russian campaign in the strategic level from the Axis surprise attack in June 1941 to the fall of Berlin in 1945. In their company, you will find full of war games about the First and the Second World War. I have just done the setup, and since the structure of the game helps a lot to learn it by playing, so I will try to teach you how to play by playing the game. I set up the game for this one short scenario called Operation Barbarossa. Now let's see the sequence of the game. Here it is. The first turn is Axis turn, so the Germans play first according to the scenario. We have the first phase called administrative phase, and it has some steps that are very easy. We will skip them because according to this scenario we will start from the ground movement phase. But in order you to see how it goes, I will show you these steps, although and you will see that are very easy. So the first step would be to draw a card and to play a card. So we go to the deck and you will see that the German one start, as you can see in the symbol, start with the generals Guderian and Kleist, and the ability they have is Blitzkrieg in these two units that you will see in the map. So in the second turn, for example, in this case, we see the symbol, so this means second turn, I draw this card, and then the German decides to play or not. In the third turn, this card appears, so the German would decide either to play or not to play, or to play it in the battle, for example, as in this card that is played to the seventh turn and has some benefits in battle. So we are in the first turn, so we start with these generals. Let's pass to the other step, that is initial supply check. In this phase, we just check our units to see what are out of supply or not. If we are in supply or if we are out of supply, we just add this marker out of supply on the unit. So, for example, would play like that. This is the initial checked supply. This next step is the production points PP collection. In that phase, we just count, as you can see though, the factories we have, the German has, and adds one good for every factory, or in case they control a mine. Then it adds petrol, their oil. There are two goods, two kind of resources. Oil that are represented from this with this icon, this symbol, and goods with this one or with mine. I will try to show you some. Look, for example, this symbol. In the expansion, there is a different good, but in the basic game, it's just a good. So resources. This symbol and this actually are the same in the basic game. So we just count them, how many of these the German controls. We do the adjustment in the production point track that is here, as you can see, and we just add the resources, the goods and the oil. In that scenario, Germans, as you can see, have goods number 3 and oil 2. It's according to the first scenario. So in that phase, we just count how many factories or mines we control or oil you control. The next step is reinforcement entry or production points expenditure. So we spent all our production points. Of course, we can save them. So we have some economy management here. According to that table, the production costs. For example, we will see later how it works, but just in order you to have an idea. For example, a destroyed infantry, we spend 2 goods in order to come back from destroyed to our homeland, for example, or cavalry or blind or tanks, armor, and oil and a good, or 2 goods and 2 oils in order to take back to resurrect an Air Force unit. In case we want to buy this token, an offensive token, you will see that it gives us the right to attack in this round. It costs 2 and a coup, 2 oil and give us we have the right to organize 2 units. You will see what that means. We can also buy a resource or oil for this unit just to organize, to take out a disorganized token. For example, as you can see in this one, the Finland unit here has a disorganized token. So with paying this cost, we take it out. In case we are in unfront, we have adjacent an enemy unit, we are unfront, so we have a penalty cost, that is this one. So in this phase, in case we have reinforcements, yes, they enter, and we spend or we save all this I just referred to. The other one, the next step, is the strategy rail movement. Very easy. We move just one unit that is not, of course, out of supply or disorganized from a train area, like here, to another train area with a symbol. Of course, all these hexes have to be in supply and controlled by the German. So, for example, from here, I can move it here, Sofia, or to Bucharest. We just pay attention that if there is an enemy adjacent to this railway, to this city with rails, we cannot move it. Okay, so this is the requisite. So, and we just move one unit. The other one, the next step, is air and operational movement. In that case, that we skip it, of course, because it's according to the scenario, we go directly to the movement phase, as you can see here. We started from here. But in air and operational movement is a very easy movement and very important, where we can move the double of movement points to our units. Here is the strength, here is a unit, full strength unit. This is the strength, and this is the movement points. So in this case, we double the movement points. So until 10, we can move 10 hexes. Normally, a rough or a difficult terrain costs 2 movement points, while cities that are major cities or plain, cost just 1 movement point, as we can see in the player aid chart as well. But you will see how, when I play, how it works the movement phase. But in this exactly phase, in the operational movement, we can move our air forces double of their movements, so until 10, to a city. A city is a green one, a major city, or a small city with this white dot. This they have where our air forces can land. Okay, of course we have to control this city, and the operational movement starts or ends not in unfront. For example, I cannot make an operational movement and come here because it's in unfront, in the first line of the battle, as we can say. So we cannot do it that, and we do not count with those, for example, the forest or the mountains. or the heals in that case, we do not count, that does not cost 2 movement points. So this one, for example, if this unit like this, it can move until 6 and we don't count those like 2. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. While in the normal phase movement, as you can see, you will see later, that costs 2. So this unit just move here and stops, or max can hit here, or from here 1, 2, 3. But you will see the movement phase. So in this phase we just mentioned, air and operational movement, we just move it until up to double of the movement points. So we start actually this scenario from this phase, ground movement phase, and you will see how the game goes. So as to see, we have this how the sequence play is draw a card and then play a card if we like. Then we just have an initial supply check for our units, because you will see later that we have a final supply check, and there are many bad sequences for this. Then we see how many production points we have, and then we spend them. In case of reinforcements, we enter the fresh units come. Then we use the strategic rail movements, but just one unit, air and operational movement, or air forces or other ground units, up to the double of their movement, and we do not count, the most important, we do not count the terrains, and we do not end our movement, our strategical movement, in up and front, in the first line of the battle, adjacent to an enemy. Let's see how now the game starts. Now we will start the game by the phase ground movement phase. We can move all our forces if we want, up to all our forces, air forces or ground units, doesn't matter, and up to their movement points. In this case, for example, 5. This is the most important, I think, phase of the game. Depends a lot in order to attack. In the next station, in attrition phase, you will see later, and believe me, this is the heart of the game. How to set, how to put, where to stay, what to do in the... So we start the game by the movement phase. We can move our air forces or ground units, and the phasing player or the active player may move any organized and supplied ground units that have not performed an operational movement up to their full movement allowance, of course paying full cost according to the zone of control enemy terrain, as you will see. So in this, for example, as a German, the German begins the game. So I move my units. In this case, since it's the most important element in this game, the movement one, I will try to move in order to be unfront, because this is very important to the later phase called attrition phase. But it's a unique mechanism in this game. I have not seen this mechanism in other war games. So, and the designer says that we just rotate it a little bit in order to see which units we have moved or not. So I start from this one, I move to here because it's a forest, and just finish here. I cannot move this one, this Finnish movement, because it's disorganized. So in the production points, I could in next phase, in next turn, I could spend one resource in order to take it out. So I move one. I did already my movement. The second one could be, since we are already close, I will move this one here. The stack limit is 2 for the Germans. So here I do nothing. Here I do nothing. So here I could look, for example, our movement is 6. If we enter in a zone of control enemy, it doesn't cost any. So in theory I could move 1, 2, 3. In order to exit from a zone of control of enemy, I have to pay 1. And here I cannot enter because it's armor unit. I could enter here, but it costs 2 for the movement points and 1 because I pay the penalty to go outside and 1 penalty to enter in zone of control enemy. So this one could be 2 for the terrain, 1 for penalty, and 1 for penalty. So it costs 4 totally. Let's see if we arrive. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 7. So we cannot. We stop here, for example. This one goes 1, 2, because it's forest. Then we need 2 more for the forest, and 2 because we are in a terrain zone of control of random control. So this one could be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a we can move here. Let's rotate it. This one 1, 2, 3 stops here. This one 1, 2, 3. Here there are no cities, as you see, so we cannot move there. So we just move that one. Let's see here what we can do. 2 move. We have 3. 1, 2, 3. But since we have to pay the penalty because it's enemy control, so we stop here. Here 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So bad movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I cannot reach here. 1, 2, 3. Yes. So max 1, 2, 3 until here. Or 2, 4 here. Or here. So, but anyway, it's better to move our units adjacent to our units which are adjacent to unfront in order to count its value, strength value, to the attrition phase. It's very important, this rule. Here I will move just to here and stop, and here I think with 3 movement I can not just 2, 3, just here. Since there is a river, the strength would be half 1. So this one, if I fights this one, would be just 2. So perhaps it's better to make a movement like this, 2, 3, 4. And this one, I cannot move them. I cannot move this. Let's see if I want to move any of my air forces. I will move this one, this here, because it's a city, major city. Airport is provided by major cities or small cities with this dot, white dot. So my movement phase is finished, so easy. And now I rotate again in the normal position in order to start the attrition phase. All units moved by operational movement before, so the up to double movements, cannot move in the movement phase, or a unit that has moved by terrain. Okay, so we rotated our units And it's so easy, we go on by the attrition phase, a unique mechanism of the game with superiority check and attrition resolution. Let's see how they work.